What's up, Texas Heat? Man, I know. I haven't had a lot of shows. I haven't had a whole lot of anything going on to really start this year. But I do want to make sure I thank everybody for your activity and just getting your games in. Myself and Ivan will be getting some shows in later on. It's just been more so of a scheduling thing for me at this point. But let me make sure y'all can hear this first. Texas Heat, man. I hope y'all are having a good Monday. Hope everybody's had a good, decent weekend, man. It was a terrible weekend for football. If you played any parlays this weekend, that's for damn sure. I know we haven't had a bunch of shows up to this point. I had about a week and a half or two probably off when it came to shows. Myself and Ivan, we will get a show in. We will get some responses and get some feedback to what we've seen in these previous weeks for the league, and more of that to come. I'm gonna be honest, guys. It wasn't even just work, man. Family life got busy, and like, I was just tired. I didn't have the motivation to get up and do these shows and get everything set how it needs to be. But ultimately, we are sitting in week 9 and we're getting ready to advance tomorrow. They're having a few games that have been played this week. Still a few left between Nike and Josh. We'll see how that game plays out. Dolphins and the Chiefs. Young gets a game there to continue. I believe 8-1 up to this point. Rome takes a loss to Earl. Earl gets a big win. And of course, there's a few games left for this week. But I'm going to actually jump over to week 10. Just really quickly, I want to make sure everybody knows this. I am going to get that playoff prediction sheet out this week. I did ask for everybody to send over your playoff predictions of what you thought you would do. Looks like only about 6 or 7 people actually responded for the playoff predictions. But again, I get it. You really don't want your opinion out there in the open. That's cool because I'm going to put mine out in the open because I'm comfortable in not only what I think, but also in how I play. We're going over to week 10, Panthers and Redwoods. Actually, there were some big games in week 9 that have to be discussed because, Top did say he was going to win his next 3 or 4 games, and he was willing to bet his cap on the situation, which was funny because he didn't really have any cap. Did lose 52-7. Black Knights gets a game over those Panthers and Brad, and then, of course, Fuzz gets a game over Ivan. Week 10, Panthers and Redwoods. This is a big game, kind of a personal game in a way. Top definitely needs this one if he wants any chance of getting to the in the playoffs, even though I don't think his division is that far away from him. The Black Knights and Desperados, myself and Legend. This will be a fun game. I haven't really seen too much of what Legends likes to do up to this point. I do know the quarterback situation is going to be interesting for him, so I'm going to bring out Matt Corral for this game, see if we can have a little bit of even Stevens, if you would call it, in this game. Texans and Bengals. Ben is somehow having a good season, and I didn't expect it to happen. But he does get to play Gideon. Gideon has had some tough losses to start the season, and I expect him to play well against this game against Ben and pull this one out. 49ers and Jags. Lolo did take a suspension earlier this season, able to bounce back I believe in this week and this week against Justin James. Justin James started out 3-0. Started talking big shit in the very beginning and then started taking some losses. Still the situation as far as that division is concerned. I do have Justin James getting this one. Saints and Vikings. Hyundai and Earl. A big game. Hyundai is playing well with those Saints. I'm really interested to post what the tier 1, tier 2, 3 shit that we had posted in the beginning of the season and match that to everyone's record by the time we get to the end. I think that's going to be very fun to see kind of where everybody stands based on how everybody felt when it came to their position, when it came to the tiers itself. Packers and Steelers. I mean, Darius just hasn't played well, which is crazy to me because I feel like he's played decent offensively. He just hasn't been able to get the stops, which I felt like he would with that defense. He should be able to play a close game against Josh. I'm going to give Josh 7 on this one. Bisons and Ravens. Obviously, Smitty did get the first game against Hendricks. It was a close game, not a game that Smitty just ran away with in that game. I don't think Harrisburg is going to get over the hump the second time playing Smitty as well. Smitty should take this one and continue his dominance with an undefeated season up to this point. Dragons and Blues, two teams not playing very well. Two users not playing very well. I'm more shocked at what's happening with Gruski than I am with Nike, mainly because I did think that Gruski had the situation that he could still play with, even with Baker Mayfield. But he's only got one win up to this point in the season. I'm not sure if I expect him to get many more. This is going to be a fun game to see between him and Nike. Ultimately, I think they're fighting for that draft position up to this point. So I'm actually going to give Gruski the win here. Falcons and Cards. This should be a fun game, a great game between Rome and Nick Adams. I do think Nick Adams is going to pull this one out, and I think he gets it by 3. Lions and Chargers. You know, it's funny because I thought when Jay Rose got this team that he would be just fine, and then he got rid of the one position that I feel like myself, probably Jay Rose, and a few other users felt like you could go without this year and have success, and that's a quarterback. Well, hadn't planned out for him. It has not played out for him the way he probably originally thought. I thought that Chargers team was built in a way that you go for it all right now. You go to win it all right now. He didn't want to be in a position where he just lost a bunch of players and had to be free in the offseason and dealing with all the other users trying to sign players in the offseason. So not played out for Jay Rose up to this point. Austin playing with those lines, still trying to figure that team out a little bit. Having a decent season. I'm actually going to give this one to Jay Rose. I do think Jay Rose is going to sneak Austin and get a game. Giants and Cowboys. This is the game of the week for me. I do not know how this one's going to go. Hell, I'm not even sure it's going to get played based on both of the guys' schedules and the Madden that they prefer to play. But if they play, I do not know who wins. I really don't, because it's crazy. Doubting Fuzz is a real thing. Doubting Fuzz and his gameplay is a very real thing that we do in the league a lot, mainly because of how he likes to play, and it's basically, can you stop it? Well, here's the thing. Slick's got the team for that plays well against the style of play that Fuzz wants to run. And I also think that Fuzz has a defensive style because he's going to threaten you with the safety in ways that most guys don't. So I'm not really sure on this one, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout in either way. Commanders and Seahawks. We should have Kevin Freeman back this week. He was out of town. Commanders kind of on the edge of maybe being removed if he doesn't be careful. Can't be a new user and come in and be missing games. So I'm going to give Kevin Freeman this one just because of my expectations currently with Patty Mack and his scheduling. But ultimately, if it did get played, I do think Patty Mack would win. Jets and Condors. Ivan and Olympic. There is not a game more personal than this one. There's nothing on the schedule more personal than this one. Ivan should win this game. However, because he's playing Olympic, and Olympic has not had a game, and he's playing to win, even though he may be losing, I got Olympic. I have Olympic winning this game and shocking Ivan and putting Ivan in a very tough spot in that AFC race. Broncos and Bills. You know, DTZ, he added me to his list of DTZ's Wall of Fame. I need to call it Wall of Shit because ain't no fucking way you should ever lose to DTZ, yet he pulled one out. Then he pulls one out against Gruski, and now all of a sudden, he's got Jeremy, he's lost a few games, but Jeremy's kind of been playing a little decent this year. I guess I got to give the man some credit, maybe. I'm not really sure where I am yet when it comes to Jeremy and his gameplay up to this point. But what I do know is that he's been playing well enough to win, and I just don't know if Jeremy is going to beat DTZ. I think DTZ is going to add someone else to his list. We will be right back, and we're going to go through those standings, and that'll be it for the show. You know, guys, one of the things that I like to talk about a lot when it comes to league play has everything to do with mainly has to do with how I see the points for points difference in each game. I always find that interesting, Madden to Madden. I'm really excited to see what that stat sheet, that all-time stat sheet, is going to look like Madden 23 to 24. I'm thinking about splitting them up, Madden to Madden, and not just doing total yards, our totals combined, Madden to Madden. I think that'll be a better breakdown that we can use going forward, and that way we can really get an idea of how does each Madden play year to year. Right now, it doesn't look like passing is just super elevated this year. It seems like running the football, playing defense is going to be the one thing that keeps you ahead in this game as far as a consistent level. But going over to the AFC North, again, like I said, we have Smitty currently sitting 8-0, looking like he's on track for an undefeated season. We'll see what he does in the playoffs, but pretty much he's guaranteed playoffs at this point. I don't think anything's going to change for Smitty. I'm at 80 point as far as playoffs. Then we've got Ben playing with those Bengals at 5-2. I'm going to give it to Ben. I'm going to give it to Ben because I'll be honest with you. I thought everything he had in Madden 23 was not going to transfer to 24, and so far it has transferred. He is 5-2, playing well. 4-3 at those Steelers with Josh. Ultimately, for Josh, it just comes down to making and missing games, in my opinion. I feel like one of those games was what ended up being a fair sim or a forced loss that ended up kind of impacting him. And then I think he had another one where he ended up taking another fair sim. So two of those losses, I really think for Josh, it's hard for me to really pinpoint if he would be more so of a 6-1 versus a 4-3 right now. See how his season plays out. And then we have Hendricks. Did not have the start. However, he's got some games in. He's gotten some games in recently. He's 2-5. He's made a few trades. I think the season is basically over for Hendricks at this point. It's going to be tough to get back into that race because he's going to have to play incredible with a very difficult schedule to finish out the season itself. I'm actually going to go with Smitty, and I got to say Ben. I think Ben is going to sneak into the playoffs. And that's going to be interesting because, again, I didn't see that coming. I did not see Ben making it in the playoffs, especially season 1. We got him sitting at a tier 2 or 3, I think. I think a tier 3 with a tier 2, maybe. I'm not sure, but this division is definitely going to be Smitty's, and I don't think there's any question to that. AFC South, you've got Lolo 5-3. You have Legend 4-5, 2 losses to Lolo. Texans 2-5. Obviously, Gideon is not having the season that he hoped for. He is not playing like the duck that I expected. He's doing a lot of quacking, but that's about it. And then of course we have Nike sitting at 1-6, which again, kind of expected in the beginning of the season. His quarterback situation being tough, the receiver situation not being the best. He doesn't really have the pieces that I think really benefit the way Nike likes to play. He's playing for that offseason, and I'm going to actually say that if Gideon doesn't get this game next week against Ben, he will as well. I want to say that this game or this division is Lolo's, even though Legend is only 1 game behind. We'll see how this plays out. We will see how this plays out. But I think Lolo may sneak off with the AFC South. AFC East. Myself sitting at 5-3. We have Jacob, who started well on a five game skid, looking very similar to last year. Last year he started out 3-0 and then ended up going on a 5 or 6 game skid as well. DTZ, he's won 3 games. DTZ has won more games this season than he won all of last Madden. He did not have a season last Madden with more than 2 wins. And he's got 3 already. That's already improvement. He might as well be the Colorado Buffs right now. He is doing something the world did not see. A new face, a new identity for DTZ himself, sitting at 3-5. Olympics 0-7. You know what's crazy about this situation with Olympic for me is it's not so much about Olympic, it's about the Jets. Almost every team that I've seen so far almost every league that I've seen with the Jets, the team has not been successful. So it's very weird to me that people are not playing well with those Jets because I feel like the Jets are a problem as a unit, but for whatever reason, there has not been success by those users, and I guess I shouldn't be too shocked here with Olympic sitting 0-7. The AFC West, we have an 8-1. We have an 8-1 Young. Dude is balling. I think a lot of people believe it's going to be him and Smitty playing each other to get to that Super Bowl. Who they play in the NFC is still undetermined. But the 8-1 situation for Young, really not a shocker. He's played a few close games, won all of his close games. But ultimately, he's sitting number 1 in this division. You got Ivan right behind him at 5-4, and then I think a very unfortunate 3-4 out of J Rose, and then not really a shocker that Jeremy is 3-5. I still have a bet with Hendricks on how many games that Jeremy is going to win this year, and I really don't think that number is going to be that different than what we had originally bet on. 3-game losing streak, and I think it's about to be 4. About to play DTZ this next week. This division is absolutely Young's. It just comes down to one thing really simple. What does Ivan do? Does he make the playoffs or does he not? Jumping over to the NFC. Close-ass races in this NFC. NFC looks very different than what the AFC looks like. There's a lot of guarantees, I feel like, in the NFC versus the AFC versus the NFC. 5-4 Vikings, 4-5 Redwoods, 4-4 Lions, and a 1-6 Packers. The crazy thing is the Packers is technically not out of it, in my opinion, because Earl can take some ass whoopings. Period. 1-6 Darius can make the playoffs if he chose to in this division. Because I'm kind of shocked, if I'm going to be honest, when it comes to what Austin's doing right now at being 4-4. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw Austin 4-4 or even in an even situation with the team ever. He's dropped 2 games. Top said he was going to win his next 3. That did not happen. Did not happen at all. He's 4-5. Earl is 5-4. I do not have Earl winning this division. I don't care what Earl has done. I don't care what he has shown. Earl is not winning this division. It's still between Top and it's still between Austin. That's how I see it. I'm sorry, Earl. I am not a believer just yet. As Dion would say, you still got 2 dogs in this division that are going to figure this out. NFC South. You have a Falcons team in Rome, 7-2. You know, it's funny. At the beginning of the season, we thought Rome was going to be the weakest link in the division, and he turned out to be the best. And he's sitting 7-2. And then we have Brad at a 5-3. Crucial loss against Legend that I think is going to have an impact on the success that Brad has over these next 2 games. Then we have Hyundai 6-3. Man, when the guy figured out his offense, things just changed. He can't stop a lick on defense based on the points against numbers are showing, but he is figuring out how to win football games, and that's ultimately what we're here for and why we play this game is to get to the fucking playoffs, and he's doing that. And then, of course, Gruski. Gruski may be the most shocking situation to me out of all the league. Because Gruski played bad in the second half of league play last year, and now he's starting this year in a very similar position, in my opinion, with a better team. I say that because I have that team in another situation, but of course we're not called the Houston Blues. We are the Steamers. We're the Brooklyn Steamers, and it's hard to not give this division to Rome. You know, I think Rome's only played 2 division games. He's 1-1 in the division up to this point. Um, Brad has not lost in the division just yet, and I'm not sure if Brad will lose in the division. I can see all 3 of these guys going into the playoffs. That's not going to happen. Someone's going to have to be canceled out, and man, it's really hard for me to just say that Rome's going to take this division or really choose any singular guy to take the division. I'm actually going to go with this is tough, boy. I cannot lie. I'm gonna go out. You know what? I'm gonna stick on my guns. I'm gonna go with Rome. I think the division will play out the way it currently sits. I think all 3 have a chance to make the playoffs, but ultimately, I'm gonna give Rome the opportunity. I think Rome is gonna do something special. Let's see what he does come playoff time. NFC East. The best team in the division is actually the worst team in the division. I want to say that again. The best team in the NFC East is actually the worst team in the NFC East. And that's Fuzz. Fuzz lost 2 huge pieces during the season. He lost 2 huge pieces during the season. Got both of those pieces back. One being Waller. Eagles 6-2, and Colton. Colton's playing the defense that he wants to, probably not the offensive side of the ball. 6-2 is still 6-2, and then of course you've got Slick sitting at 6-2, and then a Commander team at 3-5 with 3 straight losses. That team's kind of going through a lot with a different user coming in and playing on that team. That user not been able to make a few games, so I mean we're on the verge of just switching that over. I'm just going to be very honest because it's crazy because we actually play this fucking week, and I have not heard from thy fucking user. So that'll be interesting, but we do have that replacement set and ready to go. Fuzz is going to get the division. Fuzz is going to get the division. It's just going to come down to which one of these guys are going to take that other divisional or wild card spot. There's only 3 wild card spots available, and it's going to be wild to think that either the Eagles or Cowboys, as a team on Madden, are not in the playoff picture. But Fuzz is definitely going to be in the playoffs. NFC West, probably the worst division in the NFC, which is crazy because the names that this division started with, you would think different. Because you've got Justin James, who has been a decent user in the league. You have Nick, who has been a Super Bowl bound guy, also playing with the Cardinals, but yet he did choose the Cardinals. He had options. And then you've got Bloodshed. You got to give him some leeway playing with those Rams, but of course he gets knocked off of the 49ers, so that probably changed the situation a little bit. And then an 0-7 Seahawks team. Like, it's an 0-7 Seahawks team. Like, what's crazy is I feel like I should be in the NFC right now. Like, maybe I should be a threat in this NFC West. Who else should I put over here? Because I'm shocked that I don't want to say I'm shocked at Nick, but I'm definitely shocked at the result of this division right now. That's going to be the breakdown as far as the league itself. I have not posted a top 10 for the league this year. And the reason that I have not done that has everything to do with the fact that I wanted to see how we finished out in year 1. I kept thinking to myself, we always put out a top 10 or a top 15, 20, blah, 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 blah. And then we, rank our users and then just, go out through the season and those numbers change week to week, season to season, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to get to the end, but instead, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to wait until after this week 10, or till we get to week 10 and to post who I think are the top 10 users. I do think that the top 5 users are the people that you see on this list right now, just not in any specific order. I actually don't. It's funny because Smitty's 8-0, but I don't think he's number 1 in the league. I really don't. I have to go look at schedules to really determine where a guy really sits as far as league play itself, and then skill wise, of course, as well. But ultimately, guys, like I said, the goal was to simply make sure that we put out content, that we give you guys something, and ultimately, myself and Ivan will get shows in. I will get guys engaged as far as the show itself. We will do a trivia again. I'm hoping to have one this week. Man, just got busy, got irritated, had shit going on, and I just had no energy or nor desire to get on this mic and talk any level of shit to anybody because I had my own shit that I was trying to deal with. Other than that, man, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. We do advance tomorrow. Playoff predictions are coming. Man, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day, man. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.